Okay, let's see. We got a few topics to get to tonight. Really quick. I'm going to recap some of the red flag stuff and maybe we'll give some away. Shout out to the sponsors, Kenzies Optics. Shout out to the folks over at Riton. Shout out to the folks over at Taurus. And of course, Crossbreed Holsters. Big thank you to all of them. Please show them some love, some tags. Go over to their pages. Thank them. They're the ones that keep this rolling. You know, all the guys who've been hitting me up about joining in the giveaways. What's up, DEFCON? About joining in the giveaways. I appreciate it. I'm doing my best to kind of get everybody involved in the giveaways. I know I have a bunch of companies that, you know, we've been kind of neglecting getting to the giveaways, but we're going to give a bunch of stuff away. What's up, DEFCON? What's going on? DEFCON, we got to get you guys on to talk about some of the stuff you're doing and some of the slide work and, of course, some of the grip stuff. It'd be great to have you guys on whenever you want. We can talk about some of that stuff and where you kind of see that aftermarket market going. You know, that would be fucking cool. Whenever you guys want, you know, say the word whenever you want to go live and chime in. I'd love to have you guys kind of talk about some of that stuff. You know, and plug you guys and what you have going. So hopefully everybody's good. Maybe we can get a Boston John minute too. He was funny last night. You know, maybe we can get a minute with John, like the Boston John minute. Kind of how he sees the world. God, he's funny. He's out of control. You know, but I appreciate it. You know, anytime anybody can head over to the YouTube kind of went bananas last week. You know, the YouTube's been interesting. I ran like one YouTube ad, and the YouTube went frickin' bananas. You know, I had a bunch of people kind of come on, but everybody gets a little funnier on YouTube. Everybody was chiming in about the laws and about politics and about everything in between. It's kind of funny. I was like shaking my head. I'm like, I can't believe this many people get all fired up about YouTube. But that was pretty awesome. It was pretty awesome. I really liked it. I'm out on the road. Of course you are. Of course you are. But you got to pull over, man. We got to get like the minute. Frenny, what's going on? Dan Frenny. So, a few things to get to. We covered red flag laws. Oh, you don't have to do a pistol for me. I appreciate that. You guys are too much. But if you do a pistol and you send it out, DEFCON, maybe we can talk about it and we can do something. That would be kind of cool. For sure. For sure. I'd be up for that. You know. Dan, what's going on? Gotta get you back on too to chime in. John, if you pull over and you want to do the Boston John minute, that would be fucking awesome. So we'll give away. We'll do this. Head over. We'll do this. Head over to Breakthrough Clean comment tag and comment done on my last post. I'm going to put a post up on my last post to win a cleaning kit. DEFCON, get in on this. Get in. Get some updates. Get a lot of updates. I'm just updating everything on the interwebs. So let's see. So a few things. This is technically episode 15. I know last night's got all screwed up, but we're trying to sort it all out. So hopefully everybody can follow along, whether it's YouTube and everything else. So hopefully, got all the sponsors plugged. Yeah, DEF CON. I'd love to get you guys on anytime, talk about the pistol. We'll set that up. Let's get a DM going, and I don't know if you have my number. I'll give you my number. Then let's get that rolling. You have my card, my cell's on there. Hit me up and let's do that. So, for sure. And we'll get that all ironed out. So hopefully everybody's good, and we'll get to some of the topics right away. So I got a bunch of messages about the podcast thing and about how to start a podcast and who is starting a podcast and who is interested in starting a podcast. And, I do my best to answer those guys. I'll do my best to kind of keep up with those. I get a lot of messages, too, about people wanting to chime in about the laws. And I want to stress that I'm doing my best to answer those or to get that stuff out there, but that's not, what I want. I don't want the show to morph into spending 9 hours talking about the laws and going down wormholes about the different legal changes. I understand that. I know it's there. It's one of those deals, we're trying to put as much of the news out there as we can, but I don't want it to turn into like, panic, like it's like a panic show, we're talking to, go to like USA Conceal Carry for that or something and figure that out. I mean, we'll talk on them. It's good to talk on them, but, let's not get crazy. So, what's new? What's new with you guys? Have you guys taken a minute to watch some of the YouTube stuff that I mentioned, catching up on, or have you guys taken a minute to spend some time looking at any of that stuff? Arnold Classic Champion, congratulations on the weight loss. You chimed in last time with all that weight loss stuff. That is awesome. That is awesome. Something like 200 pounds. This guy is legit. So, awesome. Hats off to you. Awesome work. Great work. It's going. It's going. Awesome stuff. Really appreciate it, and appreciate you sharing your story. And losing the weight's amazing, man. Really amazing. I really appreciate you sharing that. That was freaking, I was blown away at the amount of weight you lost. Really shocked. Congrats. Congrats on winning. Congrats on everything. When I was blown away when I looked at some of those pictures and everything. I do my best to kind of get back to folks, but yours kind of blew me away. I was like, wow, definitely amazing. So I appreciate you sharing that story. Appreciate you telling that story. Any of that stuff has a special place with me, because anybody who puts the work in, who puts the time in, who takes the time to do the work, goes a long way. Goes a long way. I mean, that's not easy. That is not easy. Not easy stuff. A lot of work. Tons of work. So congratulations to you for sure. So hopefully everybody had a chance to view some of the stuff. I'm going to get to a couple of the quick questions while everyone's participating in the contest. And I'm going to reboot this and thank all the sponsors. So, thank you to Kenzies Optics. Thank you to Taurus. Thank you to Riton. Thank you to Crossbreed Holsters. Thank you to everybody for tuning in. This is technically episode 15. We appreciate everybody listening and chiming in and heading over to YouTube. We are doing a contest tonight. Head over to Breakthrough Clean, comment and tag. Comment done on my last post. I'm going to do a post. And head over to YouTube. Please like and subscribe. If you take a minute, head over to iTunes and take a moment to leave a review. Any reviews are greatly appreciated, but I appreciate 5 stars. So, if you enter the contest, you'll have a chance to win a Breakthrough Clean cleaning kit. So hopefully everybody takes the time. Thank you guys. Appreciate you guys. Appreciate everything you guys do. Hats off to everybody with the great questions and everybody who's taken the time to chime in with such fantastic questions. It means a lot. So everybody thank you and appreciate you. So, without anything further, let's get into it. We talked about red flag laws. We talked about a lot of the different laws that were coming out, and everybody seemed to get fired up about a lot of that stuff. Do my best to answer them, do my best to kind of give you guys some insight. I am not an expert. I am far from it. It's really one of those things that I can only offer my opinion. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a doctor. I can only give you an industry perspective. They're out there. They're scary. Some of the laws that do get passed are a little frightening. It is what it is. There's not much we can do about it other than fight it. So we do all we can. Now, with that being said, I don't want to dwell on them. And as I've said before, I don't want the show to turn into, everybody's, opinion on the laws. We do the best we can to kind of service that element and just answer as much questions as we can about them. It's all we can do. That's as good as it's going to get. It is what it is. They're scary. That's all I can say. But you are tuning in to the John Bartolo Show, and we just talk about any questions you guys have. I have a list written down. So, a few people have asked me a bunch of questions surrounding the state of the industry, what they see happening, what they think. A few people have asked me about SHOT Show still. That stuff's still lingering out there. I have questions on that. I want to thank all you guys that submit questions. So it's pretty crazy. A few people were asking me, we were talking about this. I got a call and somebody mentioned to me, because I was a big, fitness enthusiast, and I was, put a lot of fitness in the industry. Somebody was saying that they were looking at MMA guys at the booth, and there was something crazy like, was it Chuck Liddell wanted something like $20,000 for an appearance. And I was like, what? I want to be clear, I don't know if the industry's there yet to support that type of stuff or those types of appearances at the booth. I don't know. I've never been a big fan, I'll be straight with you guys, about, paying for appearances. I think appearances should be mutual. I think appearances should be consensual between, the two folks involved with the brands. And it should be something that you stand by, that you support the brand, and that you really, dig the brand and you're supportive of it. Especially if you're going to endorse something or stand by something. I'm not saying you can't go there and hawk your book or whatever it is you have, or your, whatever, or maybe they should cover your fees for showing up. But to some extent, I think people get crazy with the whole, appearance fee and things like that. Like, I know everybody's clamoring for air cover, and it's one of the things I've spoken about. I've been outspoken about. I think companies are starting to realize that they're too dependent on just, that one centralized platform of Instagram or whatever it is, or Facebook, and they have to start to cover all these areas, and they have to hit all these areas. Companies are still learning that media is a full-time gig. The larger companies get it. The smaller ones are struggling to get it. And that's kind of where, where I see it. So, well, yeah, I mean, Frenny, I'd love to get your opinion, because you're a spectator, on what that does for you as a Leo and as a guy out there. Like, do you care if someone does an appearance? Do you give a shit? Is that something that gets you going? Or do you just, like, whatever? Like, are you going to go buy a gun because of that? I feel it loses a lot of its sheen, when it's like a paid type of thing. So, I definitely think, that you got to be careful. It's a slippery slope with that stuff. So, you know, I got my opinions. I got my opinions on it. It's just a slippery slope. You know, kind of is what it is. But if you tap some hearts, tap the paper airplane, you know, let people in. We're going to give away the breakthrough. We're going to give away some of that stuff. I appreciate everybody. And I am going to be traveling a bit coming up. I have some stuff going on, so I'm going to do my best to get as much out there as I can content-wise and get as much out there as I can to you guys in terms of getting you the data. And I'll get to the questions, and I'm starting to come up with more of a structured format for how to come to you guys from this space, because I want to give you guys the most I can in terms of feedback and answering your questions and being as into it as I can be. I think a lot of the questions I'm getting are good. A lot of the feedback is good, and I'm doing my best to answer them as best I can. And I'm still getting Super Bowl questions. I'm still getting stuff, but I'm doing my best to answer these and come at them in the best way possible. So I appreciate it. I'm sifting through as much as I can, as many of the questions I can. Thank you to everybody who downloaded us on Podbean. Podbean has passed 1,000 downloads. So I appreciate everybody on Podbean. So if you don't have iTunes, head over to Podbean. Take a minute to download on Podbean. I appreciate that. Means a ton. Means a ton. It's super, super exciting to see that stuff. Thank you. Frenny says, yeah, I mean, it would hold more value if it's someone I've met, trained with, or broke bread with, etc. Case in point, guys like you and Tony and Ian. Yep, I know you guys are names. Behind the product means a lot. Yeah, I mean, I think you're absolutely right. I think it's more about that support behind the product of people that have actually used the stuff. I think that is definitely something. I would say that, I think people make the mistake of like, firearms is a little different. You have to have some of that brand identification, but you also have to have somebody who's actually, has run it and done it. So I think that matters. I know that matters. It's whether or not, you see value. I mean, I think spokespeople are great, but man, there's so many out there. Everybody's trying to be a spokesperson today. It's crazy. It's crazy. But hey, my hat's off to them. I think, man, it's getting crazy out there. Someone it's going to keep cleaning itself up, but everybody's chasing the same thing. The hands-on guys are always seem more authentic than just the paid celebrities. You just have to, with just their name attached to the product, just my 2 cents. Yeah, I mean, Cassie, that's probably pretty accurate. Just attaching a name isn't enough. I agree. It's not enough. So here we are. It's not easy. Not easy. Not going to be easy either. Let's see what else. I think that no one should represent a company or brand if they do not use them. I think everybody should be a customer first. That's my interpretation. There's people out there that do it with such class, and they do it in such a way. I think everybody should be a customer first. I think that's, to me, is number one. is number one. Everybody should be a customer first. You know, that's number one. You know, I think you should be a customer first. You know, without that, you're nothing. Customer first. Customer first. You know, that's it. That's really it. That's number one. So, you know, I think too many people are quick to just kind of jump on the bandwagon, and I think jumping on the bandwagon is a real problem. Just paying for it or buying your way in and saying we're going to do this because of that. Just, you know, stay true to who you are and have the people that support you, and I think that that's more genuine. I was approached by several companies, but yet I did not like their product. I did not use their product, so I had to say no. I think there's always should be the opening of you trying the product. I'm not opposed to like saying to a brand, hey, let me try it. Let me mess around with it. And if they're against that, then there's nothing I can do with them. You know, they have to be for that. You know, they have to be for you at least sampling the product and showing the product some love. I think that's that's really the most important thing. You know, I'm going to put a post up now, but we are giving away some breakthrough. You know, you have to be willing to at least try. And if you try the product and you like the product, there's nothing wrong with that. I have no issue with a company coming up to me and saying, hey, you know, I have this product, like you take a look at it. And I get tons of that. You know, tons. Tons. All the time. Again, you're 100% correct. I mean, yeah, I know. I think it's pretty common sense. I think it's pretty common sense. You shouldn't be opposed to trying something. If I like the branding, I like the people behind it, I'm not against trying it. Not against giving it a run. You know, I think you have to be a little open to that. You know, you have to try new things. Be a bit of a consumer. There's nothing, you know, nothing saying that that's wrong. You know, be strategic about it. Don't try everybody. The only thing I'm willing to try, you know, multiples of is holsters. I'm willing to try some different holsters. I'm willing to mess around with some different stuff. I think there's always room for that. Always room for that in that space. You have to be willing to try those things. But I think that it's overrun, the industry is overrun with people just kind of throwing their name on things. I mean, a lot of the brands I've worked with through the years, I've worked with, you know, 100 times over. So I have a lot of experience with the product. There's nobody I sponsor on this podcast that I don't have a lot of experience with the product, and I haven't used the product continuously. So I'm always, you know, open to it, to looking at it. You know, it's always been my deal. But I think for the most part, everybody kind of has their system, you know, whatever that system is. So, kind of is what it is. It is what it is. So let's get to questions and some Q&A stuff. We'll cover a lot of topics. We'll go fast. I'm going to do the best I can to hit everything and cover everything. So, Got a question about podcasts. We'll start there. Yes, anybody can start a podcast. Yes, anybody can start YouTube. You can get into those things. I'm going to answer this as concisely and as broadly as I can. I got a question about getting into this or doing this, or they said it seems interesting, I'd like to do it. You can do it. There are costs associated with it, especially if you want to put a quality product out there. I know everybody in the podcast space has said it over and over again. Start a podcast, start a podcast. You have to have a little bit of an audience. You have to have a little bit of an audience to start it. On YouTube, I've been lucky. I'll be honest with you guys, I've run 2 YouTube ads since the day I started the podcast. I had a lot of companies get behind me and support it. And a lot of people will support other podcasts. Like Bravo Concealment's come up a few times. They're in here now. Renee has a great podcast, and he has a great approach. He understands the media. He understands putting it out there, and that this is where this is going. And he gets it. You cannot just be solely focused as a brand today on just Instagram. It's becoming too crowded. It's way too crowded. So there's a guy who gets it, who's actually in this live right now. He understands it. You have to put different material out there, and you have to talk to different audiences, and you have to create a voice. So hats off to him. He's one of the guys that I actually look up to in that space. He gets it. But anybody can do it. Whether or not you can develop an audience is another story, and whether or not you can turn it into an audience. I've done 2 ads. And what I like about YouTube, and I've said this many times and I've been critical of this, is you can't, and Renee will attest this, it's harder to fake it on YouTube. You can't fake it, but you can run a couple of ads and you can get a lot of traction on YouTube pretty quickly if you're smart and you have a good product and you put a good product out there. If you put a good product out there, I think you'll get the stuff pretty quickly. I think you'll get traction pretty fast, especially if your content is strong. So I hope that answers the question that I got regarding it. Whether or not you'll have good content is a whole nother story, guys. Whether or not you'll be able to put together a show is a whole nother story. I don't know. I don't know what everybody out there will talk about. I know there's a million fitness ones. There's a million motivational ones. The motivational ones are super crowded. But I've been fortunate. I've had audiences. You've got to be real, man. People can smell BS a mile away. Absolutely, Renee. That's great advice for everybody. You have to be real in it. I've been making as much a concerned effort as I could to be as forthright and as honest with you guys and as straight up. There's certain topics, I just don't like to discuss. I mean, of course, religion and politics is always one. I try not to get too heavy into the political. This isn't the Ben Shapiro show. And when I've done this in the past, my rule, especially for companies, my rule's always been stay away from politics and religion. Of course, Renee, you've done a fantastic job. And I got the holsters. You're making an awesome product and you're killing it. And that's one of the guys I've loved working with in the past. I love working with when I do work with him, and I know we'll work together again in the future. He does a fantastic job. And check out Bravo Concealment stuff. And check out his podcast, check out his lives. Renee's putting some quality content out there. Now, we live in an era, and I'd love to get Renee's thoughts on this too sometime. We're in an era now too where, there's like a clamoring. Everybody wants to be the star and everybody wants the attention. I think it's getting super crowded, and I think it's more of a team approach from a company's perspective and getting and pushing that content out there. And I love to see more companies bring this stuff in-house. And that's why I appreciate Renee so much, because he's had the foresight to bring a lot of it in the building. And I think that's critical. And I think more companies need to do that. I think they need to get off the tit of outsourcing a lot of the media, and they need to bring it in-house. It's got to be done. It's got to be done. It's got to be done. Stop relying on outside sources for it. Bring it in-house and build it out as a business. Bring it in-house. If you bring it in-house and you manage it in your building, I think you're gonna find that return on investment by building out that asset of YouTube and of other spaces is going to be much more rewarding in the end. In the end, it's going to be much more rewarding. So do it. If you have the means as a company and as a brand, do it. What do you think about those companies that offer 1,000 or 10,000 followers for $100? That seem like a scam from me. If you're talking about like bots, you know, be careful. They'll shut your account down now. You can't get into that. You have to just grow slow and organic. One of the things about YouTube that's fantastic is you do see the growth, and you can see growth if you manage it strategically. And you strategically manage your lives, how you go live, your content, you'll grow. You'll grow. As far as, you know, putting yourself out there, I have no issue with ads. I know Renee probably doesn't have an issue with ads. I don't have an issue with ad type stuff. I say do ad type stuff. Ad stuff will help. Ad stuff is good. There's nothing wrong with running a strategic ad. Be a practitioner, learn those platforms. There's a thing called Google. Yeah, if you run, you know, it's really simple, and I know Renee's probably figured it out because I have. If you run a couple Google ads, you'll find you can really hit a home run pretty. Your content has to be strong. If your content's not strong, you're not going to grow. But you have to be somewhat sticky, and you have to be willing to put out good quality media. If you're putting quality media out there, a couple of ads are going to help your analytics and going to boost you pretty quickly. You'll be able to grow fast in any space. So, you know, Instagram with the shadow banning and face banning, Facebook with face banning and all that stuff, it's just too tight. Yeah, super good. Facebook ads are super rewarding. They can be super rewarding. I'm just trying to be real and trying to get real people to try and help real people. And then stay true to who you are. You know, don't be, if you believe in what you're doing, don't be afraid to put a little advertising behind it. There's nothing wrong with that. So if you guys take a minute, tap the paper airplane, tap hearts while you stop in, or head over to YouTube like you are. I know many people are entering the contest. Win some Breakthrough Clean. We'll give some Breakthrough Clean away. Take a minute. You know, I said it before, and I'll be very transparent. I've run two ads, and I mainly promote, you know, the trailer or how that trailer gets out there into the blogosphere. You know, I think that that's something, you know, you can explore, or a company can explore. You know, I think it's really easy to push out there. But I think you have to be willing to take chances. You got to be willing to take a chance. I think that that's pretty common sense, I would think. You're going to have to talk about some things. You're going to have topics. You're going to have to do a build-out. So I get a lot of questions about this stuff. You know, I'm more than willing to explore it. I'm more than willing to have people ask questions about it. I'm more than willing to give you as much. I'm out sharpening my wife's pregnancy craving. I'm sorry about that. You know, so not everybody. So the answer is simple. Not everybody. Yes, not everybody can do a podcast. Not everybody can do a podcast. You have to have the discipline. Now, I get a lot of people that ask the why. You know, I like this space. I like this space a lot. It's a good space. It's fun to play in this space. To me, this is a better space for a lot of people. Whether or not it's right for you, I don't know. I don't know. It comes down to bandwidth. I know when I watch Renee's at Bravo Concealment, he's got some great points. You got to have the points. If you have great points and you can talk about it, you know, it'll go far. You know, it'll go far. I don't know. I don't know if you have that. I don't know each and every one of your needs and wants and what you guys have to talk about. I believe quantity over quality. Put stuff out as much as you can. Yes, Renee, you are 100% speaking my language. And I've done, you know, You know a lot about how I work. I've done presentations on this. I've talked about with companies. I met with companies at SHOT Show, and there are companies that are still stuck on just Instagram. It's all they see. They see this far. And they're still out there buying $6,000 videos and $10,000 video packages where they get 5 videos. It's not enough. It's not enough. Like if I'm a company right now, you need 3 Renees. You need 2 Johns. You need 5. That's what you need. If you look at companies like Vortex, they're already doing it. They're already doing it. They're pumping out so much content, so much stuff. They're like a tidal wave. And I believe, I'm going to predict it, Renee, and I'd like to get your thoughts. I'd love to get your thoughts on the show. If you go live, it'll pump into my podcast. I think companies like Vortex are going to steamroll companies like Leupold. I believe it. I'm going to say it. I think they're going to steamroll companies like Leupold because they have the content, and Leupold just doesn't have it. They have the content. They're going to steamroll those companies. Fact. Fact. Absolute fact. Absolute fact. I just think that that's where it's going. They're going to steamroll those brands. I don't mean to be controversial, but what Renee's doing is going to steamroll other brands. I guarantee you he's seen it in his sales. I guarantee you he's seen it in his brand development. And I'd love to get his opinion on it because I believe that he's going in the right direction. Staying fixated on just the IG stuff is going to be the death of a brand. It's going to be the death of them. It's not the way to go. It's 100% not the way to go. 100% you're pigeonholing yourself, you're shortchanging yourself, and you're staying in too much of a safe space where it's just post a picture, get a like, post a picture, get a like. It's too one-dimensional. It's too one-dimensional. It's not enough. It's not enough at all. You have to do more. You have to do so much more. You have to be able to be much more open. And I'd love to get the reasons as to why, what promoted him to do it. Because I think it's valuable. I think it's invaluable. I think without question, going into those other spaces is a difference maker. It's a total difference maker. There he is.
What's going on, man? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I want to get your thoughts. So I got Renee from Bravo Concealment. I want to get your thoughts on why you did the podcast and why you went the way you went in marketing and what made you do it. And if you can, share it with everybody if you're willing to, because I would love to get your thoughts as to what, because I sat, Renee, with a ton of companies at SHOT Show, and I feel like so many companies are starting to turn the corner, and you and I have talked about this in their approach of how they look at media. And I just look at companies like Vortex, and I look at different brands, and I'm like, I make bold statements that they're going to steamroll other brands because they're putting so much content out there. What was the trigger for you?
It was that, man. It was just, creating attention, getting in front of people, any way that you can. I like talking to people. You're right. Podcast isn't for everyone. But the people that do like to talk to people, the people that do like to, put their opinion out there, I think it's a great platform, man. If you've got something to say, I think podcast is the way to go. Instagram stories is big right now, and it's because people like to get in front of the camera and they like to speak their mind. It's just grabbing attention, man. Whatever way that you can. If you're good at talking to the camera, at talking to people and expressing yourself, podcast is the way to go, man. It truly is.
I know you saw this.
I was just gonna say.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say about Vortex. I truly believe that. I think that the phone nowadays, I use iPhone, but whatever it is, the smartphone, it's an awesome tool. It's a great leverage that you can use against other companies, and I truly believe that Vortex can and probably will leave other bigger companies, in the dirt, man, in the dust.
I think they're absolutely gonna steamroll Leupold.
I totally agree with that because again, it's about grabbing attention,
about
man.
5 years, 3 to 5 years. In a 3 to 5 year window, you're going to see way more Vortex than the Loophole out in the marketplace. Hands down.
It's been happening. It's been happening forever. What happened to Toys R Us, man?
Toast.
Toys R Us never evolved.
Toast.
They never took it to social media. They never did anything on Google. Nothing, man.
Amazon killed them.
Amazon killed them.
Murdered them.
I mean, Walmart killed them. I mean, Walmart is setting online already because of Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
Walmart is competing with Amazon, and so social media marketing, bro, John, it's where it's at, man. And if you can do it, organically, even better, bro.
You have to be organic. I'm not opposed to ads. I've run ads in the past. Promote your brand. If you believe in yourself and you're an individual, not a company, I'm okay with that. I know some people kind of like, oh, what's he doing, or what's this one doing, or what that one doing. If you believe in what your brand is and you believe in promoting yourself, then by all means, go ahead. I said it with my YouTube. I've run 2 ads, and I've posted the analytics in my stories. I've been super transparent about it. If you run a couple ads for $50 or $100 on YouTube, you can get a lot out of it if you know how to use Google Ads.
Sure. I mean, YouTube is awesome. You can actually target with pre-roll ads or whatever kind of ads you want to run on YouTube. You can actually target people that did a search on. So that's why I said you got to be a practitioner. You got to learn. I mean, these things are out there, man. If you go to Google Analytics or if you go to Google AdWords, you can learn all this stuff. There's videos everywhere, John. I mean, you're right. You need to bring this home. I mean, there's a lot of social media agencies out there that can help you, but I guarantee you, man, no one's going to do it better than you. In the sense of, I mean, there's agencies that could probably do it better than you, but you're going to pay an arm and a leg.
Yeah, it's too expensive, and in the firearms business, it's always a risk. We saw in the past when companies went that Madison Avenue approach, like HK in the past, in certain brands, they failed miserably. You have to stay boots on the ground still, in our business, because it has to be someone that can get behind a gun, that can shoot, that's done it, at least has a ground level experience. But I predict that, I've said it for a long time, that the way this is going, like I watched the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl pre-show was sponsored by YouTube. And YouTube is the second largest used search bar, period, next to Google. So what I tell people is, if you're not going into that space, if you're not getting into that space, if you're not developing that space, and you're still stuck on just Instagram, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. You're going to fail, because it's getting too crowded, and everybody's an Instagram model now. Everybody's an Instagram this. Everybody's an Instagram that. We've seen 2 or 3 incarnations of the shoot fast guys, the tactical guys, the this, the that. They're all out there. There's 20, 50 of them in every genre trying to fight for the same buck. I think you have to start to bring it in-house. In the companies that I sat with, probably a dozen brands at SHOT Show, and I would say 10 out of 12 are still stuck. They're just learning, they're just figuring Instagram out. They're not figuring everything else out. They're stuck in what I call like a safe space, and they're not willing to do the things that you've done. I think you're a pioneer, man, and I think you're going to steamroll a lot of holster companies out there, because you're willing to put yourself out there. You're putting a voice behind your brand. You're putting a face behind your brand. And you're putting a message behind your brand. And you're not afraid to put yourself out there and say, hey, I'm going to put all this content out there. I'm going to talk about all these different things. And you look at the evolution of it. I've said it to companies. You can monetize your entire marketing department and brand yourself and sell your brand more effectively across all those different blogospheres and all those different spaces. Yes, you're going to have to put money behind it in the beginning. There's no question. And eventually, yes, you hope to be a vortex where you have a fleet of people that you're able to do these lives, do these Q&As around your product. But that's what the people want. That's what the people want. They want consumable. And if the second largest search bar is YouTube and people type in holster, you want to be the number one thing that pops up, just like you want to be the number one thing on Google. And the only way to do that is, And if people think that the YouTube doesn't feed into the SEO of Google, they're fucking crazy, Renee. They're crazy. You have to get on there. If you're not producing something on YouTube once or twice a month, 3 times a month at a minimum, you're not producing enough, in my opinion.
I'd say produce something twice a week, man.
A week.
Once a day, if you can. I'm telling you, it's all about just putting stuff out there. It's you know, a lot of artists nowadays, music artists, what they'll do is they'll just pump songs out, man. You know, people wait for the perfect video or the perfect song. Just put stuff out. The only way you're gonna get discovered and something go viral is if you just put stuff out. You're right. The market is saturated, man.
Loaded.
You need to go out there and you need to start putting stuff out. And you know, this whole thing where, well, you know, I got to be perfect with it. The lighting has to be perfect. Nobody cares about that anymore, man. I'm telling you, John, no one cares, man. What they want is they want the truth. They want good content, and we know within good context, that's what they want, man. And they want real, man. They want truth, man. Bottom line, end of story. That's what they want.
And in this space, you have to be real because you're taking it real time. So you're taking it real time. So anybody who's not in this space, you know, companies, it's actually scary, and you're seeing a lot of them fail miserably because they're taking so long just to figure out Instagram. It's moving too fast for them. You hit the nail on the head with the example of Toys R Us and other brands, and I think, you know, especially in the firearms business, I think that they're at a huge loss if they're not buying into these philosophies, lock, stock, and barrel, no pun intended. And they have to be all in, and they have to be like, you know what? We need to be pumping out content, like you said, 2-3 times a week. We need to be consistent. We need to deliver not only product Q&As, product reviews. Why are people outsourcing for these things? Why not bring them in-house? What made you bring them in-house and not outsource like everybody else?
I like to be in control, man.
That's it. Control the message.
I'm a control freak, not in the sense to where I also delegate. I can delegate, but I like to delegate what I know. I'm not going to delegate something to someone that I don't know, because then how do you measure what they're doing, right? So I like to learn it first, and then I'll delegate it. Photoshop, I learned it on my own. Videos, editing, all that. And so, yeah, man, bring it in-house. Obviously, in the beginning, you have to, because you're grinding it out. You're not making a whole lot of money.
Developing.
But even now, where maybe we can afford to outsource it, we keep it in-house, man.
Because you're building a product too. You're building your brand, but YouTube becomes an asset of the company. Now you own that asset. I can see outsourcing for a few videos. I can see outsourcing for some stuff. You know, I get that. I think you need some of those cool videos still of the utilization of the holster. But I think in time, the model that you can create is a model that is sustainable, in that maybe you have 5 or 8 podcasts, a little commercial about your holster, and then another 5 or 8, you know, streams where it's all those different things. But I think people have become too dependent on, hey, you know, let me get Joe Tactical Guy, and Joe Tactical Guy will create videos for me. I mean, I heard some companies I sat with, they're paying $6,000 or $8,000 for videos, and I'm like, what?
Yeah, sure.
I'm like, on my best day, I never made that for a video, and I'm like,
No, man.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
No, the videos that go viral are the videos that are shot on an iPhone, man.
Oh my God,
You
yeah.
know?
Oh my God.
And it's a game changer, man. The stuff that you need nowadays, this isn't 20 years ago where you had to go out there and buy this expensive video camera and you needed some crazy computer, man, to run. You know, we're running everything off of a phone, man. That's what I do. My office is my iPhone. That's it.
I
use my laptop, but for the most part, it's my phone. That's it, man.
You can go out and create a killer studio for under 10 grand, under 5 grand, really, today with the technology. And I still see companies, when I sit with them, they're still like, they're in la la land, Renee. It's crazy. Like they're still talking about outsourcing for thousands of dollars, video productions. I mean, I go to the shows. I bring John with me as a photographer because, you know, it's hard to, like I always say, hand the phone to people to take pictures. So it makes life easier. It makes that stuff. But you have to control the message. You have to bring it in-house. And for such a small investment, even the smallest of companies can bring the whole message in-house. I mean, I set this up. I'm in my frickin' kitchen, for God's sake. I set this up, and I have videos that have gotten, you know, I have over 500,000 minutes watched since doing this. Now, granted, I had another successful podcast prior to this, but I think companies right now need to be having the mindset that you have, to bring this in-house, to build around this, and to develop not only their website, to develop their SKUs in a way that they can feed the meter and then monetize their marketing departments. And that's something I've been a huge proponent of with companies. But, you know, I think you're ahead of the curve. I think companies like Vortex have been way ahead of the curve. And I'll say it, it's a bold prediction, but I'm telling you, you're going to see companies like that steamroll other brands because they're just pumping out too much content and you cannot keep up with it. And I think you're doing the same thing. I'm going to say it because you won't say it. I think we'll see companies like yours, as long as you keep your SKUs tight and you continue to evolve and develop other things. I see you getting into the belt game. I see you getting into potentially, hopefully, some of the Molly game. But you're going to steamroll other holster brands out there because you're just in the game and you're going ferocious. You know, you're just...
That's it, and that's what it's all about. Why haven't I gone to SHOT Show in the past 3 years? Because I can get way more attention, John, on this phone, man.
Yeah, I agree.
Bottom line in the story. And the other thing, too, is that we're B2C, we're not B2B, right? We go straight to the consumer. So there really isn't much for us, you know, to other than maybe meet up with you and have dinner or something, but hey, man, I'm not going to spend $12,000, $15,000 to go out and have dinner with someone. We can share a podcast, man.
Yeah, and I think the show culture is dying in general. Do I see value in it? I still see value in the human interaction and going and seeing the new products out there. But I would agree with you. I think you can go once every 3 years or once every 2 years and just kind of do a walk around with a couple guys, and you get some ideas and it jogs some things. But you can get a hotel room and a plane ticket, and you can do it all for $3,000 if you're smart. You know, kind of 3,000 to 5,000, and kind of just do a little walk around. And you know, maybe you land a small deal to just cover your expenses. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of where the value is.
But I'm talking about setting up.
Oh yeah, that's
expensive.
That's for the birds. I would say to any company, like, is there benefit to just having a booth in year 1 or year 2, or maybe just do NRA? I would do NRA show because you can get an NRA booth, and we've talked about this on here, relatively inexpensively, and that can be a show. You can run a 2-man operation there and get a lot of air cover.
Yeah, and you can actually sell your product there because it's open to the public. So,
yeah, and you got to go into it with a break-even mentality. Like, forget about the plane tickets. Forget about the booths. If we cover our meals and, you know, our stay, it's a win. You know, if I sink a couple grand into it for plane tickets and setting up the booth and paying for the booth space, then okay, I can live with that. But you got to go into it with almost a mentality like, I'm going to lose $5,000 on this. I know it.
Yeah, of course, man. Of course you do. But look, we released the Torsion gun holster 3 years ago at SHOT Show. That was the last time we went. And I don't know how many people were there. I don't know how many people go to SHOT Show, but just ballpark it.
100,000, I don't know.
100,000, right? That's what I was going to say. So, and then we released the Facebook video, and we pumped $20 a day. We were getting 100,000 people watching the video just a day on Facebook, and we're showing it to I mean, we were targeting people, man. We weren't showing it to, you know, Mary Jo Beth, who doesn't even own a gun. No, we're showing it. I mean, there were good leads, bro. A day for $20, we're showing it to 100,000 people. These are 2015 numbers where Facebook was cheaper than it is now.
Yep.
Facebook is still good, but it was a lot cheaper back then. For me, it just doesn't make sense, man. It doesn't add up to release a product there, and it's okay because there's important people there. But man, when you release the product on Facebook and you target the CEO of Glock, he's gonna see it, man.
Right. Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I mean, obviously you can't target the CEO of Glock on Facebook, but you can target people that follow Glock, people that follow CEOs of a corporation. Dude, I'm telling you, man, it's a no-brainer, John. It really is a no-brainer.
Yeah, and I said the same thing to people. I published my number. I said, I'll put them up in my story. I said, I have 500,000 minutes watched, and I said, people who are tuning into my show, they're watching for 44 minutes, Renee. You can't fake that.
Saw that.
You can't fake that.
I posted that yesterday, man.
Yeah, you can't buy that. So if you run an ad and you're catchy and you're sticky, you know what I call like a sticky product, people are going to tune in and people are going to watch. Now, even on mine, using mine as a case study, I haven't gained the following on YouTube that with the speed and everything else. But the minutes watched, you can't fake. You can't fake it.
No, man.
If you run an ad, it's cheaper to run an ad. You know, somebody asked earlier about bots and about buying. It's cheaper to run an ad. It's $50, $100 a day for a week. You run $400 or $500 worth of ads, pump that into your business. You're going to grow because you get the trickle down effect. People watch one video, then they watch a second video, then they watch a third.
Exactly.
So, You know, it's really simple. I think, you know, Renee, thank you for coming on. You know, and I appreciate it. And those of you that haven't caught this, the full thing, this is invaluable information that he's given. And I think you're ahead of the curve. I think you're way ahead of everybody else. I think especially in your space, you're going to murder it because you're just way ahead of everybody, and your thought process is correct. I think it's only a matter of time before you're going to need support guys around you, other guys around you, because it becomes, I've done it. It becomes so, you know, you're tired after doing one of these. I mean, you're putting a lot of information out.
Yeah, I love it though, man. You know, I haven't taken a vacation in 3-4 years. I just love what I do, John. And I think that's like the most important thing for me is, you know, people invite me fishing, they invite me hunting. I'd rather do this, man. I mean, this is what I love to do. It's internal. I don't know what it is. It's DNA, whatever the case is. But I just love this, man.
I still put myself out there and still go to the shows, as you know, and part of it is because it gives me a lot of talking points, and I like getting out there and kind of meeting people.
No, dude, and don't get me wrong, going to the show is not bad. It's just not as good as a lot of people think.
No.
And if you know that, then you're good.
I know.
But you, John, you know, bro, that a lot of people go, their business is tanking, and they're out there spending money and getting drunk when they should be at home running the business and trying to figure out if they're a manufacturer, the best way to manufacture their product.
Oh my
Instead
God,
of going
amen.
out there and wanting to take a picture so that they can put it on their Instagram post with somebody special.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, man. Mm-hmm. That's not going to get you anywhere, man.
It's not gonna get you anywhere, and I think you're absolutely right. I think there's a place for it, like you said, when you do releases and you're maybe just getting started. I think there's a place for that stuff. But I think you can look at shows like, you know, like SHOT Show to me has gotten out of control. I think like NRA show, I think you can look at smaller shows, a regional show, and get the same type of air cover.
There's value, dude. There's value even in SHOT Show. I'm not saying that there isn't. It's just that you got to be real to yourself, and you got to understand what's really going on. And maybe there's more value if you just stay home. Don't waste that money and pump it into Facebook ads or pump it into a new machine or whatever the case may be. Wherever it is whatever your weakest point or your weakest link is, and just fix that and think long term. Everybody wants short term. Everybody wants to go to SHOT Show so they can get that picture, so that they can talk to that guy and just so that they can say hi or just. So
and how about putting the money into bringing more media people in that can pump out constant content?
Exactly, man. You know, go out there and buy an SM57 mic so that you can sound great. You know.
Exactly. No, I agree. Or buy a Sony 4K. You know, I tell everybody I set this whole thing up with a Sony 4K camera and you know, pretty much the mics. You know. Yeah, you got to shoot in 4K, and that's pretty much where I'm at. You know, I made it really simple for myself, and I don't overthink it, and it's just about putting the content out there consistently. But this is super invaluable information. I don't want to keep you. You're welcome on anytime. I love talking about this stuff. I know everybody's going to want to hear more. Get some notes together. I'll do mine. You do yours. You know, like let's get on a Skype. Let's do it one time. I love this stuff.
Do it, man.
Yeah. Absolutely. I'll shoot you a text. Let's connect and let's set something up, and we'll expand on this more. For sure.
Sounds good, man. I really like what you're doing, man. Keep doing it, bro.
Yeah, I love you, brother. I appreciate it, and I love everything you're doing. You're definitely setting the tone, for sure.
Thanks, man. Thanks.
Yeah.
Have a good night, man.
You too. I'll talk to you soon.
All right.
Bye-bye.
See you later.
There he is. I'm going to sign off, guys, and sign back on. So if you want to come back into the live, and I'm going to get to some other questions and some other stuff. So hopefully we'll get 221B Tactical on. But that was phenomenal from Renee. Awesome points. So I'm going to sign right back on, tap hearts, invite people in, and we're going to talk about some of the things he talked about. There you have it. Amazing. 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 That was an amazing segment. You know, he killed it. If you weren't paying attention to that, that was one of the best episodes so far. One of the best segments. You know, I really appreciate his insight. Awesome stuff. I'm just putting the rules of the contest up. Head over to YouTube if you haven't. And that was an amazing segment. I think he's absolutely correct. And I'd love to expand on it. I think everybody would love to expand on it. I know I'll get a bunch of DMs about it. You know, you can't. I think you're going to see this. I'm telling you guys, companies are going to steamroll other companies. Renee, that was amazing, that segment. Companies are going to steamroll other companies. You're going to see companies like Vortex totally supplant Leupold. You're going to see companies that are going to keep coming because of the amount of content they're putting out. He brought up great examples. He talked about, Toys R Us going down. If you are just focused on Instagram as a company, as a brand, you are failing. You are failing. You're failing now. And you're failing miserably. And he hasn't gone to SHOT Show in 3 years and hasn't set up a booth. You are failing. And you're failing your customer base, and you're failing a lot of things. Stop obsessing over the wrong spaces. I'm telling you. They're just putting too much content out. That content is like a steamroller. I see a lot of companies out there, they're making the mistake over and over and over. And they're just focused on one area. You want to know why? It's just because they're just figuring that out. They're too slow to figure out the other spaces. That was super insightful, Cassie. He was absolutely right. He is way ahead of the curve. And I'm telling you right now, I didn't get into numbers with him because, Renee, I know you're still on. We'll expand on it. We'll set a date. I'll text you, and we'll expand on it. But I guarantee you he's seeing it in the numbers. I guarantee you. He's seeing it in the numbers. Companies are too fixated on the... Yeah, I've worked with him for years. Renee will attest to that. We've been in contact and we've been friends for years. He will tell you, if you're stuck in that singular space of just focusing on Instagram, you have thrown the baby out with the bathwater. You have obsessed over the wrong things. Guys, take a minute, head over to YouTube, tap thumbs up, leave a comment. I appreciate it. Or share the YouTube. But I'm telling you, if you're just focused on that space, you're wrong. As a company, as a brand. Take it from a guy who's done it. Take it from two guys that have done it. Renee, I mean, you don't have to get specific, but you can tell me, you can comment. You've seen it in the numbers, I'm sure. I'm sure. You're failing. You're going to watch companies win this war for media coverage, and they're going to win it because they're getting more and more into what I say is social media 2.0 or even 3.0. They're evolving, and you have to evolve with it. I brought up the point, and I said it to you guys. YouTube is the second most used search bar on the internet next to Google. Why do we obsess over Instagram? Why? Why? Yeah, Semi-Auto Kid, I think you're absolutely right. You have to be, I see Crux Ordnance in here. Crux Ordnance is in here. I'll pick on them for a minute. They make a tripod. They make a tripod system. Can't even find them on YouTube. I'm looking. What's up, brother? I'm looking for you guys on YouTube. Trying to find them. I'm going to pick on them because they're in here. I'm going to pick on people. And I don't understand companies that outsource the videos. Can't figure it out. No channel, a few videos on there. If it's the second most used platform, why? Why? What's the reason? What's the reason? if I'm buying a tripod, and I know Crux isn't. I'm gonna pick on Crux for a second because they're in here and I'm friends with them. If I'm buying a tripod and it's a few $1,000s, don't you want to see a YouTube video of it working? Don't you want to see a channel? Don't you want to see them talking about it? Don't you want to see people that use it? Continuous media? Of course you do. Everyone in here would say they do. I'm sure Semi-Auto Kid would look at it. So why not have it? Why are they not building that out? And why outsource? Why are companies still outsourcing that stuff when it costs a couple of grand to set up the whole operation in your damn kitchen? Why? Why? It makes total sense to bring that stuff in-house and to be supporting the venture of bringing that stuff in-house. If you're going to go Semi-Auto Kid, I'm going to ask you a question. You're a consumer. You buy a lot of stuff. If you're going to go buy something, you Google it, you look at it on a website. What's the next place you go? YouTube or IG? Especially if you're going to spend a lot of money, you're going to want to see expanded videos on it. You're going to want to see content on it. Makes no sense to me. It makes no. It's troubling. It's scary how dependent on IG people have come, but I don't think Instagram's user interface really speaks to people willing to buy. I can't say I've bought something because I saw it on IG. I can't. How many people in this forum can say they bought something because they saw it on Instagram? I can't. Legitimately can't. I think companies are making a mistake. I think they're making a huge mistake. I think they're making an enormous mistake. I think they're overly invested in some of the wrong spaces, and they're outsourcing a lot of their media for no reason. And Crux, I agree, something I'm working on soon. We're getting to the point where I can start targeting civilians. Yeah, I know your product's a little different. I'm just picking on you guys. Gives you guys some air cover. I'm just picking on you guys for a second. But I had a conversation with a company today, and you know what they told me they were spending for videos? $100,000. I'm not going to name the company because I like them. But they were outsourcing their video media and some of their YouTube stuff for $100,000. I said, are you fucking insane? That was my answer to them. Are you fucking insane? Are you out of your fucking mind? You can bring all that in-house. How about one, like Renee's point, how about one less trip to SHOT Show? And why don't you take that money? And he said it. He said people drinking beer at SHOT Show and people hanging out. Why not put that money into building out? Build it out. I'd rather not go to SHOT Show if I'm a brand and raise the money. It's insane. You find out about products, but you buy because of something else. Ruben saved a lot of money by not going to SHOT, absolutely. But it's insane. It's insane. But I think companies are missing the boat. They're missing the boat. You know, I think it's a mistake. I think it's a huge mistake. And I hear about this stuff. I'm serious. I was on a call today. With a straight face, the company said to me, we spent about $100,000 on YouTube videos and on building that out. I said, are you nuts? YouTube, much like IG, is a simple battle of attrition. You have to get the content up. You have to get the material up. I think, you know, I look at it and I'm like, I cringe. I cringe. Cringe. Insane. Insanity. Absolute insanity. missing out on so much growth and so much brand building, really. Nobody's going to buy your product if they don't know who you are. Take a poll and I'll ask how many people on Twitter or YouTube page will be like 2.2%. A lot of people. Well, here's the problem, Semi-Auto Kid. The problem is some of the larger pages control the platform. So people feel like almost indentured servants that they have to pay the people that have the larger platform. Now, with that being said, you can utilize the larger platforms, but you also have to be building out your own platform. You have to be building out your own platform. So it has to be a symbiotic relationship where you're building out your own media at the same time. So my suggestion to this one company was start to ease off what you're spending and ease into other space, your own space, building your own space. And they said, you're absolutely right. We're way too invested in that space. And that was the conversation. And we got into some of that stuff. Now, I know the company, they're a great brand and they're smart. And they're going to. But man alive, do I see companies over and over and over again, you know, whether it's sending out product, whether it's paying for someone else to do it, and they are just way too invested in other people controlling their media and other people controlling their message. And I'm like, why? I could sit with a company that just goes to SHOT Show. And I know Crux has done this in other companies. They just go to SHOT Show. And whatever they spend and all that nonsense, they could invest that money elsewhere and get a much higher return. Just getting more traffic on their website or just getting more traffic to their brand would be better for them. Because then people would know who they are. And they would talk to them. And they would understand who they are. Because brand awareness is more important at that point. You can't hit 100,000 people walking around SHOT. But you can hit 100,000 people with a viral video or with content. You know. Easily. Very easily. Tap hearts, tap the paper airplane. If you want to enter to win a Breakthrough Clean cleaning kit, head over to Breakthrough Clean, comment and tag, and head over to my last post and comment done. So if you guys take a minute, tap some hearts and tap paper airplanes, invite people in. And we're going to finish up. We're going to get through this point because it's important. And I spend a lot of time on the phone with companies, talking to companies, interacting with them, getting a feel for where they're at and advising them. And I'm paid to do it by several brands. And man, does some listen and does some not listen at all. It's crazy. It's bananas. I sit back and I shake my head sometimes. I'm like, God, you know, you guys are crazy. And the funny thing about it is they're spending the money anyway. They're spending it. They're spending the money. They're just spending it in the wrong places. Or they're giving the product away. The bigger ones. The smaller ones are bringing in more now than the bigger ones. And you know, the influencer game is an interesting one. I don't know if you see my comment, but I got the package today. Thank you, brother. Yeah, oh, no problem. The packages do go out. They just take time to get there. Yeah, I don't know, Wild Country Tactical. I don't know if necessarily they're looking for smaller ones. I don't have an issue using larger influencers. The issue with larger influencers is you can kind of get lost in the shuffle. It's very hard. Unless you're at a point as a company where you can pay for your ambassadors or pay, you know, I think it's important to have faces and have ambassadors, but you got to choose the right ones. I think you have to get your product in people's hands. I think that's important. Got to get your product in people's hands. Got to get people talking about the product, get it in their hands, get them using it. And people will talk about it. I talk about a lot of good products that I get my hands on. You know, and some of my best stuff is the products I talk about that I don't necessarily post or talk about on here. But, you know, I'm always willing to give people the forum to talk about their products. Especially on here. That's why I'm building this. I'm building this so people can come on and talk about their stuff. You know, this is just an open forum for people to talk about all the different things. But man, in marketing, it's crazy. I could do case studies on companies. I just presented a very large pistol company a presentation, and they get it. They get it. They totally get it. They understand it. It makes sense to them. They just move slow. Some of them move too slow. And I see companies out there, I see companies like Vortex just gobbling market share. They're like Pac-Man. Just eating market share. And we saw it. Renee brought up an excellent point. Toys R Us is bankrupt. Amazon is crushing people. Crushing people. Eating them alive. You gotta have consumables. Gotta have it. It's insane. Insane. The amount of money wasted. But you could do a case study on it. You could do a case study all day long. But he brought up some excellent points. Some really great points. You got to diversify your content. You have to reinvest in yourself. You have to invest in your brand. You have to almost spend more to bring people in that you don't want to spend. You know? Yeah, I can't mess with the beast known as Amazon. You're so right. It's just one of those things. If you're not pumping out the consistent content, you're not pumping out the consistent media, and you're not bringing in the people to do it, or you're not necessarily examining that, you're losing. You're losing every day. Every single day. So, do it. Great points. I hope you guys liked that. I'll get Renee to expand on it. Definitely get him to talk more about it. I'll set up a time. I'll text him, and we'll get some insight. But that's a guy that's ahead. That's a guy that's ahead in his market. That's a guy that's winning. And he's looking at all the right things. He's looking at his website. He's looking at his SEO. He's looking at his YouTube. He's looking at podcasts. He's looking at different streams. He's looking at different areas. When I sit with companies and they just talk about IG, I just fold up my stuff and I'm like, I'll see ya. Way too small. Way too small thinking. Tiny. They're living in a bubble. They're living in a bubble. And I think part of that has to do with the addiction that some people have to it. The owners, the marketing team, they're addicted to it. In America, people would rather order things online and have it shipped to their door rather than physically go to a store and waste time and gas to pick up the product. That's why Amazon is killing the game. Amazon's killing the game because of the simplicity of the purchase. I could design a website tomorrow with a good web designer that would absolutely simplify the purchase process. You have to simplify the purchase process. If you don't have a simplified purchase process, what was the number one thing Zuckerberg did when he started Facebook? He said you have to make it as close to a one-step process to sign up. You entered an email address, and you were signed up for Facebook. It was data gathering. That's all it was. He was gathering data. That's it. You know, yeah, Wild Country Tactical, you have to build it out. You have to build it out. And if you're not building it out, you're losing. You're losing. YouTube, Netflix, Amazon TV, Hulu, that's where it's going. And if you're not there now, you're behind. You're behind. I'm telling you, especially as a firearms company, especially. Because we don't have enough. You know, you can look at it. I'll give you real talk right now. Remove all the fiction. Remove all the fiction. A confused customer will not buy from you. Absolutely. Absolutely. A confused customer will not buy from you. What makes your product better? What makes your product superior? And what platform supports that narrative the best? You know? There's an interesting review. Renee might like this. He may like this. YouTube has supplanted DirecTV. It's $40 a month. It's $40 a month for YouTube TV. And it's already supplanted DirecTV, and they're already streaming their own channels. You can add on Stars, Showtime, AMC, soccer. It's already supplanted it. Already. And we can have guns there. So what I say to companies is, why are you not there? Why are you not there? Why? Yeah, I have YouTube TV too, Renee. Why are you not there as a company? I think it's a monumental mistake. Huge. Huge. Huge mistake. So here we go. Forbes.com. Here's an article for you. The future of media buying. YouTube versus traditional TV. This is Forbes. Pretty reputable, right? Pretty reputable. Okay? With as glued to phones as we are. As glued to phones as we are, who do you think wins? By 2025, millennials will count for 3/4 of the world's workforce. Unless you'd like to exclude this entire target market, stay away from YouTube TV. They will not subscribe to pay TV. I'm telling you, folks, you got to get on top of it. Get on top of it. Especially companies. Get on top of it. I agree, Renee. They're dead. And I think you're a pioneer. I think you're ahead of it. I think you're way ahead of it. Way ahead of it. Powerful article. Get on top of it. Insane. You know, it really is. That was such a great talk, Renee. It's just so great to talk to people that are like-minded. I know 221B agrees with you. I know other people that agree with you. But the future of media buying. I'm going to put this article up in my deal. But this is a case study. And this article came out January 16th, 2018. It's been out there. I've read it a couple of times, but, this is where it's going. Absolutely. Renee, you're going to be a pioneer. And you're probably going to become even more wealthy than you are because of it. Because you're ahead. And you're playing with the house's money at this point. But it's going to be the way to go. It's going to absolutely be the way to go. Let's see. Let's see. There he is. So did you catch that segment of Renee from Bravo Concealment?
I did. I think what he spoke was something that Can you hear me okay?
Perfectly.
I got these...
Yeah, they're working great.
These things in.
Yeah.
So, they're probably about to die because I've been running them all day long here. Listen, you know and I know that off the nearest building the day Instagram goes away.
Mm-hmm.
And anyone that is living by Instagram for their business is going to die by Instagram. Should they change the algorithm again? It's not like should they change the algorithm. They've changed the algorithm. It affected many people. And Cody Talent, what's going on? Ryan, what's going on? Ryan, I got to reach out to you in Texas. I got something to share with you, brother. And hello to all my peeps in Miami, because I'm in Miami right now, and I reached out to a few people. Of course, I reached out to the people that you and check in with them. But going back to what I was saying, I found out, you found out that Google is the dominant force here, and if you don't have a presence on Google for people to find you and search you, whether it's your product, your service, your content, you truly don't exist on this planet. Therefore, we've been pushing YouTube content more so than anything. People are searching YouTube more. The analytics and the data shows it. People are using YouTube as their Google. So people want to buy a lawnmower. They are going to YouTube and entering that lawnmower's make and model and typing the word review next to it, and they're looking for the video. I did it.
Yeah.
I just bought a power washer, and I did that same thing. Just people are doing the same thing. And when you Google someone's name or you Google a product or service, guess what comes up? First thing, videos. And where are those videos housed? Those videos are housed on YouTube. So anyone who's not on those platforms and not building a presence on those platforms, you're not only doing yourself a disservice, but you're doing a disservice to the people that you're trying to help, the people that you're trying to get your message, product, or service out to. So you're obligated, if you're serious about taking care of people and taking care of their concerns, you're obligated to be on the platform that is the most used and the most prolific platform out there. So that's why we're focused on YouTube. We're focused on Google Analytics, backlinks, getting backlinks to our site, backlinks to other people blogging about us. And like, you and I spoke earlier, that's the only thing we're doing with the new company that we started, that we're not really doing heavy Instagram, heavy Facebook. We're going all Google. We're getting keywords, we're doing the SEO, and we're doing the backlinks, and we're doing, everything in that world, because guess what? That's what matters.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a major mistake, the companies that, and the businesses and the people marketing themselves, I think they make a major mistake by ignoring that. And that's something that Renee was talking about. I think he's so ahead of the curve. And I look at other companies that aren't in that space, that aren't taking the time. And the funny thing is, Suresh, we've talked about this. Companies are spending the money anyway. Whether it's giving product away or they're still feeding that Instagram space, and it's the wrong space to feed. How many companies did we sit with? And I'm not saying throw the baby out with the bathwater and get totally off of it, but they're feeding the wrong meter. You have to adjust your thinking and start to feed different meters. I've done so much research in the last 3 weeks, you know this, and I look at it, the second most used search bar on the internet is YouTube. So if you're growing your business and you're trying to expand your business, and I just put the article up in my story, Forbes came out with an article and simply said, by 2025, you're going to have such a reduction in cable TV. YouTube already has the paid-for YouTube channel. It totally supplanted DirecTV. Renee just said, he goes, I got rid of DirecTV for YouTube TV. It's all going in that direction. You're going to have Netflix, YouTube TV, and you're going to have Hulu or Amazon. One of those will win the war, probably Amazon. They'll just buy Hulu out at some point, and you're going to have those spaces. in guns and firearms and tactical stuff and fighting and MMA and jiu-jitsu and everything else in between. You can advertise those on YouTube. So why aren't you in that space? Why aren't you in that space as a company?
Yeah, companies don't understand that. Some people think, listen, I need to be on Facebook, I need to be on Instagram, I need to get big time influencers or Insta famous people to do an ad about my product, and I'm going to give this Insta famous person a discount code, and when this person posts a photo of their boobs popping out of their turtleneck or their butt in a thong in the gym flexing in their Lululemon yoga pants with their heel up, that this person with their discount code, their name followed by the number 10% off. Listen, man, those days are done. Those days are done and over with. I'll tell you this right now. Never have I, nor anyone I know, has ever seen the ads on Instagram, not the ads, but the posts by these Insta famous people saying, hey, I just tried this awesome new product. You should try it too. It's great. Use my code, Susie Q10 for 10% off. I don't know anyone that's ever done that. Susie Q10, guess what? She might be making like $50 a month off of that. And that's a whole lot of work and a whole lot of effort, and you're going to be broke for the rest of your life if that's how you're working. The reality is this: that same company selling that same product is better off writing a series of blog posts with keywords about, let's say, teeth whitening, if that's the product, that bright smile crap that every other girl on Instagram is promoting. And they're better off putting a couple of valuable, relevant videos on YouTube explaining the product, explaining how it works, and maybe have a couple of real testimonials on there. That will do so much better for them than giving a 10% discount code to some Insta-famous person and saying, hey, post about us. The companies that I do that, I just laugh. I laugh. And then you see them posting fake reviews, and you see them, having their own people comment on the post, saying, yeah, I tried it. This thing works awesome. I love it. You could tell it's like fake accounts, bogus people. It's just so bottom 99% tactics and strategies, and that's why these people are always going to remain in the bottom 99%. I learned that. I've shared with you what I've learned. You know that. These people are going to be broke forever.
He brought up a lot of great points, and if you get a chance to listen back to it, people are getting a free marketing lesson here. He said, Toys R Us is dead. Why? You don't see them anywhere on the internet. You didn't see them anywhere. They're bankrupt. They're toast. And I look at companies that winning, like I spent the other night talking about, we were talking about like the Gracie Academy, things like that. Like the internet is so robust that if you're not feeding that meter constantly and you're not putting content out there and you're not pushing the content out there into the spaces, and my biggest thing, and I hesitated to talk about this because it gets into a little bit of the cough medicine of the industry, but people have to. I can honestly say I've probably never bought anything just because of Instagram, but I bought something just because of YouTube. And I trying to explain to folks, if you're not building out that space because of where media is going, and we have the ability to be in that space, in the tactical industry and in the firearms industry and all, and it can create equal much more competitive space to build and to grow on. You can grow so much more in that space in terms of reaching more of an audience, running a simple Google ad, building out that space. People are so dependent on Instagram. When you sit with companies, they're all getting it. The tide is turning. They're all understanding it. But if that's going to dominate the media by 2025, why aren't you there?
I get people who reach out. Hey, John, you have people who reach out to you all the time, too. They probably shared it with Tony. There's 5 elements of business that you really concerned with when you have an offer. And they are description, meaning, relevance, value, and purpose. And I'll say it again. It's called DMRVP. Description, meaning, relevance, value, and purpose. You can only hit those 5. Now, if you try to put an offer out there and you do not have those 5 points covered in the description of your offer, in the offer that you're making, whether it's for a service or product, whatever it may be, I don't care what you're trying to sell. If you don't clearly declare the description, meaning, relevance, value, and purpose of it, you've lost the sale, you've lost a customer, you've lost a potential market. It is so important. So I see people trying to peddle stuff, and what they'll do is they'll maybe give you the description, but they leave out the value, relevance, purpose. And you're like, wait, and what does that even mean? What does it mean to people? No one's going to buy something unless they know the answer to the ultimate question. John, you know this, I know this, and I'm going to share it with everyone watching right now. What's in it for me?
Mm-hmm.
If you don't answer this ultimate question for people when they are shopping for your product, you've lost them right out of the gate. All the people that DM me, all the people that send messages, hey, I want to start a business, I want to do this, I want to do this. Listen, meaning, relevance, value, and purpose. Hit those 5 points, make it very, very clear, crystal clear. Give the description of your offer, the meaning, relevance, value, and purpose, and you've got them. The person isn't going to be sitting there wondering, I wonder... No, because you've answered everything for them. What we have is people throwing stuff on Instagram, and they're not even hitting any of the 5. They're just throwing some stuff out there with like a pretty face or some Insta-famous person, and they're like hoping, and they're probably sitting there wondering, I wonder why we're not getting any sales. I'm wondering why we're still broke.
Why isn't it moving the needle?
But, right, why is the bottom line not changing? Why isn't the needle shifting? And the bottom line is this. You know it, and I know it. Likes on Instagram do not pay your bills. Likes and followers on Instagram do not put money in your bank account. You cannot buy groceries with likes on Instagram. And guess what? 10 years from now, when Instagram is like a thought of the past, guess what? It's not going to matter. Those likes, those followers, it doesn't matter. People double tapping those hearts, no one's going to matter. Tag a friend contest, great. It means garbage if you're broke. If you're broke, it means nothing. If you want to put money in the bank, you get on Google, do a Google ad. Type into Google, go to Google and type in Google AdWords. There is a free tutorial on Google about Google AdWords to tell you how to create something. John, I know you've read that tutorial. We've talked about it. You go in Google, how to sell my product on YouTube. Guess what? Google has a video out there telling you how to promote stuff on YouTube. That's what we're doing. That's what we're sharing. And guess what? When you do it, description, meaning, relevance, value, and purpose. Make it clear and concise, and you will get your product, your offer out there. Make sure it's taking care of a fundamental concern for people, and you will make money. If you don't want to make money, you want to play around, and you want to just kind of hang out and try to pretend to be in the game, well, then you're going to always be broke. Listen, I didn't get to the growth of my company, and now starting another company, starting a company. You, me, none of us would even know how to walk, read, or write unless without someone teaching us, right? Someone taught us how to walk. No one, we didn't just somehow figure out how to conjugate verbs, right? And put sentences together. Someone taught us.
Preach.
Someone taught us how to look at a clock, look at the minute, and the hour hand, and tell time. So now we know how to look at a clock or look at a watch face and tell time. We went to someone, and someone taught us that. With the same thing with building a business, building a following, offering help, and getting out there on YouTube, on Google, getting out there. That's how it works. You got to go get the help, have someone teach you, and then you grow and you excel. And now we are masters at reading. We are masters at creating content. We're masters at reading a freaking clock on a wall because we now have done it for so long. And you've been preaching it for a while. You've been preaching it for a while that there's people out there, they're just doing the wrong thing. John, that's why people pay you what they're offering to pay you, because you have had the knowledge, you went out there and learned to do these things. And yet there's a lot of people out there that are just kind of floundering along saying, hey, we got, a couple $100,000 of sales, and we don't know how to get to that next level. We're thinking about really boosting our Instagram page. You're probably looking at these people saying, no, that's not the answer.
You know what aggravates me about that is I am. You've sat in the meetings. You've been there. And I'm sitting in there and I go like this. I go, because they're still stuck on, they're fixated on that. And I'm trying to transition the conversation to what other areas are you looking at and what other spaces are you looking at. My biggest thing is, why did Instagram start Instagram TV? Because they see that they're not satisfying that niche that YouTube satisfies. And YouTube really gets it right. Now, I'm not advocating one versus the other. Everybody who knows me knows I'm not a throw the baby out with the bathwater guy. But what I see, especially in the firearms business, is people are so saturated in one space. And when I hear things, Suresh, like a company I talked to today, I'll tell you about it on the phone, because I don't name brands here, but that, you know, specifically, especially when it's the slight criticism, they're spending $100,000 a year on video content for YouTube. I'm like, are you fucking insane? You could, for $5,000, set up a studio and be building all that content out yourself. And you heard Renee, he's like, people just want consumable content. You can be filming your own commercials for a $50,000 a year employee and $5,000 in equipment. And it's insane to me.
We've seen it. We've seen the the YouTubers who are using an iPhone with a $25 lapel mic, and they have millions of subscribers, millions of views, and you look at it, you're like, wait a second, hold on a second. How does this person have this? They don't have a huge setup. They don't have some big production going on. You know what? Here's what they did. They decided to get off their butt. They decided to get off the couch. They decided to stop saying, I don't know what to do. I would, but I don't know what to do. They stopped that story, and they said, you know what? I'm going to lean my phone against a can of Sanka coffee and videotape myself talking about my offer. And that's it. That's it. And if it's a good enough offer and it's relevant enough to people, people are hopping on it. That's the end of the story. That's it. That's all they did. And they're creating a story, they're creating a narrative that is meaningful, valuable, relevant, important. So those are all the things that people are doing. That's what people are doing, and there are people with millions of views, millions of followers making that happen. Some of them, you've seen them, John. Some of these are young kids. They're young kids doing the stupidest things in the world, and they have monetized YouTube to the point where they're making tens of thousands of dollars a month.
And to Renee's point, why we see $100 million, billion-dollar companies like Toys R Us as the example fail is because who heard of Toys R Us in the last 10 years? Where were they? Who's heard of them?
Oh, yeah, I mean...
Who's walked in a fucking store to buy a toy? Unless you have a younger one, you know. I mean, you're going to go to Amazon, you're going to go to those other places, but people are missing the point. And when you sit, it gets so frustrating sitting with companies and talking to people, and they want to talk about brand ambassadors, and they want to talk about this, and they want to talk about that. And I'm sitting with them, and I'm trying to explain a bigger picture of marketing, a bigger looking. My biggest thing is this. What does Wayne Gretzky say? Skate to where the puck's going. And if the puck is going in the direction of things like YouTube becoming this consumable that people are like, I watch YouTube all day long. It's anything. I watch YouTube, I watch Netflix, and I watch Amazon TV and Apple TV. If that's where it's going, why aren't you there? And why aren't you feeding the fuck out of that?
Yeah, you know, the issue that people kind of have is they kind of get trapped in their already existing knowledge and their already existing area of comfort. It's what they know. It's hard for people to look out. It's hard for people to have, you know, that foresight to say, this is kind of dying out. Things like this have died out in the past. What's gonna be relevant down the road? It's, you know, it's partially because people aren't thinking of what's next. People are thinking about, like, you know, this is the most amazing thing in the world and it can't get any better. You know, you look at, you know, some of the technology and the innovation that's out there today, most of us are wowed by it. But the top thinkers, are saying, that's cool. How could it be better? You know what? Siri's cool. How could Siri be better? You know what? Amazon delivery to a locker that's a mile away from you is cool. Someone just mentioned, getting something delivered to a park bench in 2 hours. Yeah, that's cool. But what would be even better? What would be even cooler than that? More efficient than that? How can we one-up that? The people who are, enamored by I can get something delivered to a locker, 5 minutes from my house and it'll be there in a couple hours, those are the people that don't drive innovation. The people who drive innovation are the people that go there, they pick up their whatever it is out of that locker that's 5 minutes from their house, and on their way home, they're thinking, how could this be even better? How could this be even better than this locker that was 5 minutes from my house that I had to drive to? What could I do differently? Those are the thinkers that change the world. And I tell people that all the time. But you know what the problem is? We have people that, and you've said it, they don't want to do the work. They don't want to put in the time. They don't want to do the work. I've shared this with some people, and I've shared this with you. And I'm going to share this with everyone on here, and I want everyone to share it with one person. A lot of people reach out to me, and they want to, get business advice. They want to, they have a business. Tell them, I say, okay, how does Thursday morning at 6 a.m. work? And people are like, what? 6 a.m.? I really don't wake up that early. My wife has to do that. My kid, I don't, usually, I was thinking maybe 10 o'clock. That's what you hear. The other day, well, not the other day, going back a little bit ago, a guy who had reached out to me to share his vision for an idea he had reached out to me. I reached back out to him. I said, how does Thursday at 6 a.m. work? And you know what the person said? Let's go. I'll meet you there. What's the address of that Starbucks? And that right there was an indicator of someone who was hungry and someone who just wanted to do the work and was going to do whatever it took to get what they wanted and where they wanted to go. You know and I know it's all about the work. You say it. You said it. I heard you say it in that Machiavelli, motivation video that you were in. It's all about doing the work. If you're not willing to do the work, you don't mean it. You're just not serious enough. How far are you willing to go? And this guy was like, 6 a.m.? Okay, what's the address? I'll meet you there. Didn't balk at it. Didn't say, I'm usually not that up. Wasn't like, bro, 6 a.m.? That's crazy for a business meeting. What are you talking? He didn't say any of that. He said, text me the address. I'll be there at 6 a.m. I mean, I was like, that is top 1%. That's top 1% thinking. That's what it's all about.
I've been a big advocate and a big preacher of monetizing, the media and everything else, especially with brands. It's been something I've kind of always banged the drum on. People don't understand, and I know Bruce Cardenas at Quest has said this. You want to come work with me? You want to figure it out? Like he's always surrounded by all these famous people. And he said, pack a bag and find me. Pack a bag and find me.
That's right.
Just keep up.
Right.
And I've said the same thing. I get people that hit me up all the time. They want to come to the shows with me. I get that a lot.
Yep.
And I say, yeah, find it. Dan Frenny found us one year, and I said, just get on the train. It's a train. We're just moving. And we're going to the next thing, and we're going to the next thing, and after that, we're going to go to the next thing. But if you really want to be successful, I think Ferris Bueller said it best. Life moves pretty fast. It moves fast. You have to be on it. And this whole thing is moving quick. I think as it pertains to social and advertising and marketing, and whether it's branding yourself or branding a company you work for, or branding a company you work with, or branding your own company, Instagram's a great platform to get awareness. YouTube's a great platform to actually sell things and to create knowledge and to create the ability. I think podcasting is a great platform to share opinions and to share thought process. Opinions and thought process evolve. That's what makes it good. But you have to be willing to evolve, and you have to evolve quickly. Where these large companies fail and where a lot of them kind of go belly up, yes, Ferris Bueller did say that. I quoted him. Where these companies fail is they don't evolve quick enough. They stay in this, like I brought it up before. You look at a company like Vortex. I think Vortex will steamroll Leupold. I've said it. Give them 5 years. I said it to Renee. It's controversial. I'll probably get quoted on it. Somebody will talk shit. They'll steamroll them. And they're going to steamroll them because they're just generating too much content and they're way ahead. And yes, they have a couple of good products, but who's going to go buy a $1,000 red dot? I'll be critical. Who's going to go buy a $1,000 red dot when you can get an aim point for $600? Who's going to go buy a Mark V? That's the flagship product when you can get a Vortex Razor for $2,000 cheaper.
That's right.
You know what I mean? And
I got one. I have one.
And it's pretty damn close. It's getting there. It's getting there. I'm telling you right now, this is where it's going. And if you don't skate to where the puck's going, and if you're not building out this type of a media engine, you're making a mistake. You're making a huge mistake. And I said, people, the other question we get asked a lot, you get asked this a lot, is people want to be sponsored. They're like, oh, I want to be sponsored. I see it. I tell people all the time, it's not that glamorous. It's not that exciting. It's not.
No,
it's not what people think it is.
You get a couple of free things and whatever, but it's not. Listen, I'll tell you right now, I'm going to say this right now to everyone out there in the Insta-famous world that is a brand ambassador. You should be nervous.
Mm-hmm.
You should be nervous. If you're out there on the Instagram world and being a brand ambassador is like all you got, you should be nervous. There's some people who make their living off of that. There's some people who they have a full-time job, they're working, and they're hustling, and on top of being a brand ambassador, they're out there, they got their boots on the ground, and they are trying to promote their offer of help and their product, their service, whether it's a product for another company or if it's a product for their own company, whatever. That is how you do it. And you know what? The best brand ambassadors are the people who are creating an identity for themselves around that product or that offer, and you see them, and what are they doing? They are creating content on YouTube for themselves. They're saying, hey, I'm Bob. I'm a brand ambassador for Breakthrough Clean, and I want to tell you about the Breakthrough Clean yada, yada, yada cleaning kit. It comes with the lubricant, it comes with the solvent, it comes with this fancy thing that Eric, that handsome devil down in Miami created, and he put this all together, and I'm going to lay it out for you today on my YouTube channel. I'm going to tell you about it. I'm going to show you how to clean this, Glock right here, and we're going to go through this. That person is going to excel as a brand ambassador. The person who just sits there and makes an Instagram post and puts their save 10% with my code Joe10, you're done. That person, if you're that person, save 10% with my code, JennyIG10, you're dead. You should be so nervous right now. Your skin should be crawling.
And people who are charging thousands of dollars for videos, they're in deep shit. Because these companies are starting to figure it out, and they're realizing you have to bring it in-house. Just so people don't think I'm crazy, obviously there's a reason why Leupold started a podcast back in February 2018, it looks like. And they've run about 30 episodes, and they have 20 reviews. Okay, they started. Mine already exceeds that. And I'm not Leupold. Vortex has 740 reviews. You started
yours 8 hours ago.
Yeah, I started mine 8 hours ago. Vortex already has 740 reviews and has run over 50, Vortex Nation, over 50 episodes. And it started about the same time, and they are pumping out content. They are crushing content. I'm going to do another comparison because everybody uses YouTube, right? And I think this is important. If you go to, and I'm doing this on the blind, and I'll admit if I'm wrong. If you go to YouTube and you type in Leupold Optics, they have 6,900 subscribers. They have 231 videos. It's pretty paltry. It's okay at best. It's a lot of product reviews. It's very simple in its construct. You go to Vortex Optics. Vortex has 54,000 subscribers. They have almost 300 videos. Their videos have an average of 3,000 views per. Okay? much, much higher, much more robust when you go to their page. Who do you think's winning?
That alone.
Who do you think's winning?
That alone shows you who's ahead.
They're ahead.
That alone, they're putting in more work, and when you're putting in more work and you're ahead to that level, you are winning.
They're winning.
You are going to be winning. That is it.
And if you go to their page, it's reviews of every product. It's reviews of everything they have out there. They are just crushing content. Crushing content. Crushing it. 54,000 subscribers. If I'm Leopold, I'm firing my whole marketing department and starting over and tearing it up. Tearing it up.
Yeah.
6,900 subscribers. And if you go to their page on YouTube and you take a peek at it, some good stuff, decent, very small views, hundreds. You know, I'm not one to talk, but very small, couple with 1,000, nothing grabby. You know, it looks like they've tried a couple different things. We all do, but nothing exciting. They're missing it. They're missing it. They're failing. They're failing.
Listen, you know, I watch, and you know, this was proliferated on YouTube, and I watched a video, and I'm not going to say the person's name, but they are someone big on Instagram, and they are very proficient with advertising. And I'll just say that, and I'm not going to say his name. But I was watching a video, I was watching a talk by him, you know, fairly well-known guy, and he made a good point. And I shared this with someone the other day.
Can I pause you because it's going to kick me off and come back on?
Okay.
Because it's going to kick me off. I want
This
that.
is a good,
I know. I want the point.
This is a good story.
I'm going to come right back. We're back. We're going to get that story. It just was going to kick me off. I had to come back. We're going to get that story. This is going to be a good one. Here we go. This is all good stuff tonight, guys. This is the good stuff. All right.
Here we go. All right, listen. So this story is going to blow people away. And I listened to this story, and it was something that really shook me based on my knowledge that I had about this person, this individual, and the power of what you can create based on social media, based on YouTube, and based on noticing and recognizing. People know the company, L'Oreal, right? L'Oreal is a conglomerate makeup company. And they've been selling makeup products, Maybelline and all that stuff for decades. We all know that, right? If anyone is living with a woman, you could probably go to their makeup bag or go to the bathroom drawer and pull that out. You're going to find some kind of L'Oreal or Maybelline product, whatever. And there's a whole other slew of products that are within that. Decades and decades to make the money that they made.
Right.
Utilizing YouTube and utilizing people on YouTube to speak her products. Kylie Jenner, who's like a kid, within 18 months generated $480 million in sales.
Crazy.
$480 million. That took, like, L'Oreal an insane amount of time to create that same revenue. She did it in 18 months. And guess how she did it? Content. Content. Her content and other people's content. If there's someone on this right now listening wants to learn something about creating wealth, if someone is watching right now that is saying, I don't have enough money in the bank, I don't care if you don't watch Keeping Up with the Kardashians. I don't watch Keeping Up with the Kardashians. I think it's garbage. But this person that I was listening to made a great point. That show can be garbage. However, you can glean some powerful information and knowledge based on what they're doing. And if you could steal those little tidbits and create something that is going to help you and your family be better, not only this generation, but the next generation, why would you not do it? You're obligated to do it. And it doesn't need to be anything great. Listen, we all know Kylie Jenner's makeup isn't the best makeup on the planet. What she was really good at is getting noticed and getting a lot of content out there and getting other people to put a lot of content out there on YouTube. The number of videos on YouTube that involve her products by people around the world, I don't even know if we could count it, John. I don't even know if we could count it.
I don't think you can.
But 18 months did what it took a major makeup conglomerate decades to do. So if you are out there today, know how to do this. I don't know how to make money. I don't know how to create wealth. You're just telling yourself a BS story. Because a kid was able to do it. I know people that are buying toys from China and reselling them here in the U.S. on the internet, and they're making $15,000 a month. Toys. Cheap Chinese toys. How did they learn? They went on YouTube and they watched videos on how to do this. And now they're making $15,000 a month. And those are like my poor friends that are doing that.
Now,
so
I'll say a couple things that'll be shockers. The top companies on YouTube: Apple, Bed Bath & Beyond, Best Buy, a company called Blend Tech, they're large, Coca-Cola, Dell, French Connection, GameStop, Geico, Office Max, Pepsi, Vitamin Water. Shocker. All pretty known brands. All pretty well-respected brands. Shocker.
Right.
You have to understand why, companies are going to that space. You have to get in that space.
That's
you know why? I can a la carte choose what I want to see there. I can take the guesswork out of it. I can tune into 221B Tactical if I want to see what's going on. It's pretty simple. Red Bull's another one on there. The Ellen Show. PlayStation. Sony. Walmart. Shocker.
You know why Ellen's big?
Speaks to everybody.
Big. She speaks to everyone. She speaks to the masses, and she makes people feel good.
Yep. Positive.
She makes people feel good. That's what it's all about. That's her offer. She's not selling makeup. She's not selling tchotchkes. She's not selling guns. She's not selling lube. She's not selling any of that. Guess what? She is putting out content that makes people smile, and it kind of, for 30 minutes, 45 minutes, makes people forget about their lives and takes them to a place away from their lives into a happy place where people are smiling, laughing, dancing, and she's taking care of people. She's doing good things for people. She's making people feel good, and people who are watching feel good. That's her power. And guess who did that in the generation before? When it came to female talk show hosts.
Oprah.
That's what Oprah did. Oprah resonated with the masses. She made people feel good. And at the end of her show, people felt a little bit better about their situation. They felt good. Oh, look what Oprah's doing. She helped those people. And for that time period when you were watching Oprah, people forgot about their own problems and their own issues and their own world. Done. That's their offer of help. That's their offer of help. So if you can get on YouTube and you can create some content, John, you're doing it. Create some content that brings value and relevance and worth to people's lives, where they can kind of get away from their lives and go watch you, get some content, learn, make themselves better. They're winning. And you win because you're getting their views, you're getting their content. That's it.
I think this is such awesome stuff, and I'm glad, we kind of went down a wormhole this episode, but I think you're absolutely right. I think Renee is absolutely right. I think people are getting ahead by embracing that modification of media. You're not going to get away with anymore the cool video of somebody all tacked out, because it's simple. We've seen kind of that first and second generation, like Tony. I'll pick on Tony. There's only going to be one Tony. There'll be other guys that'll come along, but they're going to be the second and third incarnation of it. There's only going to be so many shoot fast guys. There's one Max Michel. You can only get out there. You're all playing second place to somebody who's already been there. You know what I mean? It's too hard to shine on the rock's sun when there's already a rock. So you have to embrace different mediums. You have to embrace different platforms. It's almost like there's nothing original out there anymore. We've seen it. I've seen Tony jump through a flaming hoop on fire into a barrel roll and shit. We've seen it. So, what are people doing that's different? What is setting them apart? What is the difference maker? What is the equalizer? Until you're a company that says, you know what, fuck it, I'm going to create the platform, I'm going to create the medium. I think when people look back and they look at the things people have done or done with brands, or they look at the evolution of media and they look at the changes in media, you have to build out the platform. You have to create the medium. And I think what makes guys like Rogan so different, and what makes certain people, such game changers like Renee, is they're creating new space. And it's exciting. It's fun to watch. And they're creating the content, and it's coming direct from the source. So if you're the source and you're the face of 221B and you're the guy, what intrigues me or what draws me to the brand is you're getting out there, you're having the conversation, you're telling me about the brand, you directly. I think furthermore, you mentioned it, brand ambassadors, things like that. I think the ones that are going to suffer the most, Suresh, I think in the next 2 to 3 years, if this is your model and you're an ambassador, be on notice. If your model is to sell videos, pack it up now.
You're dead.
You're dead. Because what's happening is it's moving too quick. And you can't sell a video. You can't, I'll sell you a 5-video package with me in it, and I'll charge you this. It's not going to work. When I heard what people are spending for videos, I'm like, you may as well throw those videos in a fire. I work with a company that just spent $6,000 on 3 videos. So what are you going to do with those videos? You may as well throw them into a fucking fire. Because what Instagram and YouTube, especially YouTube, is, it's like throwing coal in a steaming hot engine. It's just vaporizing once it hits the engine. So you have to be doing it so consistent, and you have to be delivering such a consistent model in such a delivery. You can't do it fast enough. I look at websites that are so robust and so built out and have so much media and so much content on them that it's really important to understand you can't buy it. You can't put a price on it. You can't.
No.
If you're a company, you're a multi-million-dollar brand. Let me ask you a question. I approach you. Hey, I want to create 5 videos for you. I want to charge you $5,000 and 100,000 people will see it. You're better off making those 5 videos yourself, right? In any way, manner possible, and spending the money on ads.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because the pay-per-click ads, with not only within Google AdWords, but that money spend that we could put in Facebook and put into YouTube, we can make a video ourselves for, I don't know, $100 and put the other money into advertising that video on YouTube with Google AdWords and on Facebook, and we will blow the ROI out of the water for any other offer. That's why when people come to us, and listen, we get offers every day. You said it. We don't speak about it, but people can kind of get the gist of how large 221B Tactical is. We got 100 retail locations. We're operating in 30 countries. So, we're obviously not in my garage anymore. But that being said, the revenues that we're creating and generating aside, we are still focused on ROI. It doesn't matter if you're us or if you're a few clicks up and now you're a $15 million company or if you're a $20 million company. ROI is always the goal, the main, and that's how you keep your bottom line firm. And I don't care if someone says, listen, I'm going to do a video for you for $3,500. Well, someone comes and says, well, I'll do that same video for $2,500. I know that we can create a $500 video and put the balance of the money toward advertising, pay-per-click, Google AdWords, YouTube advertising, and blow that all out of the way. All out of the water.
Wild Country Tactical, I'm going to tell you right now, the gun industry could learn something from everybody, but I'm telling you, this is where you have to shift your thinking. Why can the gun industry learn from the fishing world? And there are some pros killing it with content. If I'm a giant fishing company and I'm worth $10 million, why am I not the platform that the pros want to come to? The model is fucked up. The gun industry, fishing industry, doesn't matter what the industry, they need to become the strip club that the dancers come and pay the rent to. The thinking needs to shift. See, you're still not correct in the thought process. As a company, what Suresh is talking about, ROI. If I have the money, if I have $10 million, I need to become the platform to which they need to come to for the advertising. The conversation needs to shift to, why do I need you?
That's right.
That's where it needs to go. And I know Renee would agree with me. He's probably still in here. I know Suresh would agree with me. I get it. But those are only vessels. The pros, that stuff, those are vessels. You need pros. Nobody's saying you don't need pros. Nobody's saying you don't need ambassadors. But as far as content, the thinking needs to shift. Because if I'm Joe Business and I'm relying on Joe Schmo for content, I'm failing. I'm failing.
Yeah. It's got to be created.
Can that be a good supplement? Yes, it can be a supplement. But if I'm banking on it, that's why I'm saying these people that are ratcheting up their video costs, I'll put you in my video. I know, you and I both know, and I'm not going to name names, we know people in the hunting community especially, that they charge $10,000 for videos or $6,000 for videos. And it blows my mind that people pay it. Mind blown. For what?
Yep.
We'll put you in a commercial. We'll put you in a commercial inside the video. And the video gets 300 views. Why wouldn't I just create a commercial on my YouTube and put that $5,000? If you put $5,000 behind Google AdWords, you're going to hit a lot more people.
You have a lot more click.
I'll tell you what you're banking on if you're that person. You're banking on the stupidity of the brand.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you're banking on.
It's not a good model. It's not a strong model.
It's not a strong model.
Sustainable.
If I'm sitting at that desk, I'm gonna say, I'll tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go make a video that's a commercial for my brand. I'm gonna blast that out there. I'm gonna put $500 behind it, and you'd be very surprised the impressions in which you'll get. I've proved it to everybody with the 2 ads I run. I'll tell you what. I'll do this right now for everybody. I'll do this right now. I'll go to the ad I ran for my own deal here. Let me see. I'll go to my own analytics on an ad.
I actually want to see this before I go. And then I got to go because I got to be at the track at like 4:30 in the morning.
Oh, God.
I know. It's my life.
I'm going to go to this.
My life.
I think this was what, $40 I spent. We're gonna be real. People want to be real. Let me go to. I'll give myself a good sample. We'll give myself a good sample. We won't do 7 days. I'm gonna be fair to everybody. Not gonna do 7 days. We'll do 28. I think. Well, we'll do 14 days. 14 days is fair. Okay, we'll do 14 days, because it gives it a better breath. Okay, I think it's right. I don't know that it's right. We'll see. Trying to fix it. It's just freezing up on me. This is Google Ads. You can't make this shit up. It doesn't matter. 30 days or 40, because my total cost is $168 to put it in perspective. So total cost $168, and I've only been running this for like 7 days anyway. I got a 179-page trailer ad on my YouTube. It trickled down to something like. And I'll show people this. It trickled down to something, and I don't have like this huge subscriber rate. I'm using this more as data gathering. You know why I'm doing it, Suresh. It's more just data. So I have 447,000 minutes watched on YouTube, 11,000 views, 320 subscribers. Not a lot. That's not a ton. And you can see the spikes and the peaks and the valleys. And a lot of that stems from the ads. So if $168, which is nothing in the scheme of things, that's a night out to dinner in the scheme of things, and a bottle of wine, nets me 170,000 impressions and 70 clicks. Okay, let's extrapolate that out. I got a calculator in case you don't, because I know you got to go. So let's just say $1,000 would be 4 times that or 5 times that, right? That's fair.
5 times that.
5 times, that's fair. So we said 170, let's call it 170,000 impressions times 5. That's 850,000 impressions. We're at $1,000 now. 70 clicks. Now, I'm not selling anything, so the clicks will get a little tougher, right? I'm not selling it. So I don't have good clickbait is probably the best way to put it. It's just kind of like, hey, check me out. I mean, if I was getting 100, I'd say the numbers were a little better. Times 5. That's 350 clicks. Now, if I'm you and I'm selling an average card of $100, and I said to you, I can get you 350 clicks of that, which the rule of a third. A third are going to, really take a long look at the website. Let's say a third are going to buy 30 people or put something in the cart, and let's say 10 are going to actually buy something. At that point, I'm looking at the person across the table that's charging me $6,000 for videos. I'm like, I can have John get up there with a backwards hat and a fucking microphone, bullshitting with people, and he's going to get me this. Why am I going to pay you?
Yep.
And if I'm a company, whether it's Bravo Concealment or anybody else, and I can do the same thing, backwards hat, polo shirt, just sitting, hanging, bullshitting, and I can get this with $160. And I don't think I'm some rocket scientist. Why am I going to pay for some $6,000 production? Now imagine if you put, you put $5,000 behind it, what it could look like, or $6,000.
Forget about it.
Yeah, and you actually had clickbait. I don't have clickbait. I admit that. I don't have clickbait. I don't have anything that, you know what I mean? I don't have anything that says buy now. Get some cool discount on something or whatever. I don't have good clickbait. You'd have better clickbait. A company would have better clickbait. I don't have that. What I have is impressions and brand awareness. I can only get people to church. I can't do the, I'm doing the sermon. That's it. But I just don't understand it. I don't.
And that's how we've done it. That's how we've grown.
Yeah.
We've grown by focusing on where's going to be the ROI. Where are we going to avoid? Listen, we've made mistakes. We've wasted money on things that the ROI has been awful. And we said, hey, never again. Let's go and try this, do this, and here we go.
Now, I do want to, yeah, and I do want to show everybody one other thing, because this is important. The thing that's encouraging for me, this actually one more point before I let you go. The average person that comes over is viewing for 40 minutes. 40 minutes. You can't fake that. You can't fake that. They're staying and they're watching for 40 minutes. What does that tell you?
That's huge. That's huge engagement.
That's huge engagement. They're staying. They're sticky. How many people stay for 40 minutes on an IG post?
You're lucky if they stay for 0.4 of a second.
40 minutes they're staying. 40. They're watching.
Yeah.
Now, that to me is the juice in the squeeze.
Yeah.
So, you know, mind blown.
That's the truth, man.
You know, so
Brother.
what I tell everybody is, this was a great episode. This was awesome. You know, thank you. A lot of knowledge. We're going to recap this tomorrow. Maybe we can get Suresh back on. I'll definitely try to get Renee on for an expanded episode, because he gets it. I appreciate everybody. I appreciate you coming on. I will talk to you guys. Yeah, I'll talk to you guys soon. I'll talk to you soon. So I appreciate it. I will see you later. Get some sleep and keep me posted on everything down in Florida.
All right, brother.
Later. There you have it. There he goes. Do I have vidIQ on your YouTube? I don't know what vidIQ is. I'm not that savvy. I don't have vidIQ. I'm working on it too. I'm doing this more for data gathering. It's more for data gathering. You know, gathering all the data that I need for companies. There's always a rhyme and a reason to my methodology. But I appreciate everybody. This has been an awesome episode. We've run about 2 hours, so everybody's been great. I appreciate everybody. I thank everybody. I'm going to sign off. I appreciate everyone's time. Thank you to all the sponsors. Thank you to Kenzies. Thank you to Riton. Thank you to all the different companies that support us. Crossbreed. Thank you to the guests. Renee from Bravo Concealment. Thank you to 221B Tactical. Thank you to Breakthrough Clean. We will announce a winner. Maybe I'll do it on the next episode. I appreciate everyone. I hope some of the companies in here and some of the companies that listen to this, if this was valuable, please share it. Please share it if it was valuable. Take a minute, especially you smaller companies out there that got something from this. Take a minute to share this episode. It was awesome. Look for it on YouTube. Leave reviews. Thank you. I'm going to sign off. It's been 2 hours and 15 minutes. Everybody's been great. I'll talk to you guys soon.